All right, Sessy, week 2, 2 truths and a lie. You ready?
Yes.
There was a classic in Dallas today.
Truth.
Danny Dimes is alive.
Truth.
Bengals fans will sleep tonight.
Lie.
Oofa. Flagship show begins right now. Week 2, flagship show. Heed the call. Dan Hanzus, Marc Sessler, Conor Orr, Justin Graver on the 1s and 2s. Mark, we got 13 games to dig into.
We do.
Are you ready?
I am prepared.
So let's do it. We're going to get to all the early afternoon games. We're going to get to all the late afternoon games, including some classics. But let's start with the last game played Sunday. Sunday Night Football from Minneapolis. Yes, it was a showdown between two of the more hyped young passers in football, and Michael Penix of the Falcons and J.J. McCarthy of the Vikings. Unfortunately, neither quarterback had their best game. In fact, J.J. McCarthy had a night to forget. The first-year passer struggled 11 for 21, 158 yards, 2 touchdowns. The Vikings managed just 2 field goals, and the Falcons, behind the leg of their brand-new kicker, Parker Romo, and some good running of the football, take a 22-6 victory on the road to pull to 1-1. The Vikings fall to 1-1. Mark, this was a game that looked with a little bit of a sideways glance on the schedule a few days ago. Like, how did this get the Sunday night treatment? And it does kind of, in the games we're about to get to, it does stand in contrast as maybe not living up to the part. But if you're a Falcons fan, you don't care about any of that because you got a nice road win in a big spot.
This might be the most complete Falcons team we've seen in a very long time. I think what happened tonight I know we want to talk about the quarterbacks, but this Falcons pass rush against a depleted Vikings line created utter chaos. The story of a week ago was J.J. McCarthy, right? And what happened at the end of the game. And I was saying, I'm one of those people like, he changed during the game. Well, he changed back tonight against this pass rush and a depleted Vikings line. And I just look at Atlanta and say they exerted their will. They exerted their will tonight against a young quarterback that looked confused, just had a baby a couple days ago. But Atlanta comes in here and absolutely, I think, got stronger during the game. And this defense for the Falcons, this is what didn't exist the past couple of years. Now it does.
A huge sigh of relief, I think, from Terry Fontenot. And what a day for the Falcons GM. So both of your first-round picks, James Pierce and Jalen Walker, have sacks. And then your third-round pick, Billy Bowman, has a pick. And then Xavier Watts also has a pick. Or Billy Bowman, I think, was the fourth-round pick. Xavier Watts was the third-round pick. So your first 4 draft picks, all used to bolster that side of the ball, all have massive impact plays in your first primetime game of the season. That has to be like GM bingo, right?
Yeah, it's a game where again, especially early in the season, was it this team? Have they clicked and they finally found something, or are there a lot of things to be worried about with the other team? So the Falcons, as we know, famously have had the worst pass rush in football for years now, and they get aggressive, as Connor's alluding to in the draft. And tonight they get 6 sacks and 11 QB hits. And you credit them for that. Penix, I didn't think either quarterback played well. I thought, Penix was quiet, but at the same time, they were running the ball so well. It's okay sometimes for a quarterback to kind of get out of the way. And when you rush for 218 yards as a team with Bijan going for 143 and Algier going for 76 in the game-clinching touch, that's okay. That's good. So Penix, sometimes with a young quarterback, it is good to stay out of the way, and he did. I do kind of think the story coming out of this game, and I had some fun with it leading into the week, was like the Manchurian candidate nature of the J.J. McCarthy hype leading into this game. And it just has to be said, I'm sorry, that that's 8 quarters and 7 very bad ones and 1 really special one. And I thought they made a good point at the end of the telecast. I think it was Collinsworth said that, this is a Vikings team that let Sam Darnold go out the door, and Darnold had a win today. and they let Danny Dimes go out the door, and Danny Dimes is playing very well with Indianapolis. Aaron Rodgers wanted to come here. They're all in on McCarthy, and you wonder how much of a growing pains situation it's going to be because he looked lost out there tonight.
I thought he did. Just flat out misses that don't fit the NFL world. It's just some stuff that, yes, I mean, look, he's a complete project. And I think if you're Kevin O'Connell, like, your job now is to not let the frustration, because they were panning to some of the players' faces at the end where it's like, had one of those quarterbacks you just mentioned been here, we would have been in a different place maybe. But we love this guy, but he's a project. It's going to take a lot of time. Like, how do you not let the frustration boil over? And you are right. Like, I think I came out of last week, and I'm not alone. So did Connor. We got a text from Connor midway through the game that said, "Can't wait until this beautiful new father rides a crisp horse to victory." Well, he never mounted that horse this evening. And so I think you're left, if you're a Vikings fan, with questions. You're just left with, like, what's next? Because it could be good, it could be bad, it might take months, it might take another season. Like, it's a weird place to be for a very good roster.
Here's how crazy I am, Connor. I'm thinking to myself, as poor Kirk Cousins, not poor, very rich Kirk Cousins, is prowling up and down the sideline for the Falcons like a caged old dog trying to get out. There. I'm like, can we get this guy back to Minnesota just in case Minnesota needs to save its season and not count out JJ McCarthy, but just be like, all right, maybe you need a little more seasoning, kid. But they're not going to do that, obviously. They're going to ride it out, and it could be a bumpy start. So it is a subplot now to track around the Vikings.
And credit to Chris Collinsworth, who called it like it was. And normally, like, an entirety of a primetime broadcast crew, it's just all whipped topping, right? It's just patting all these coaches on the butt and telling them how great they smell. But he not only said that JJ McCarthy completely blew that wide open throw to Jalen Nailor, but also said that this entire team looks like they don't understand the offense. And knowing Kevin O'Connell, like, I don't know, like, how well he's going to take that, and, like, if he's going to need to be restrained at the next primetime broadcast.
Yeah, give me a camera when they have their next production meeting ahead of a primetime game.
Hello.
Yeah. All right. So there you go. That's the first, the second primetime game on Sunday, but we have a whole slate of games to talk about. So stay there. I know we just got here. Just one quick break. And when we come back, we're going to dive into all of the week 2 action. Stay right there. All right. We are back. Sunday Night Football in the rear view. Now we dig into the whole of week 2 Sunday. And, a little tradition that we're starting right now before we get into the rest of the games. I'm calling on my friend and very wise man, Marc Sessler, to enrich us with the theme of the week. The theme of the week for week 2. Mark, take it away. What is the theme of the week for week 2?
I think we agreed that week 1 was football is a liar. Week 1 is a liar. This week, I felt within me like a passion and kind of love for the game because of what it was giving me. So the theme of the week for me is football showed up. Oh. It showed up big time today. I thought there were it was wave after wave of beautiful moments. It was chaotic. There was at one point 4 games unleashing its beauty upon us at once. It was hard to keep up with. And instead of feeling snowed under by it and frustrated, I felt like we kind of needed it this week, right? Like we're in a weird country. Football showed up.
Yeah, I like that. And I was thinking, like, in that same breath, as a Jets fan, you're a Browns fan, Mark, and both our teams, we'll talk about it, had bad Sundays. Sometimes you got to go, the joy doesn't come to you. You got to go find the joy. And there was plenty of joy to be found on this football schedule, even if your favorite team provided none of it. So without further ado, let's dig in to the games of Sunday in the non-primetime window. And we must start where we must start. Super Bowl rematch? Yeah, that's where we start. Yes. We did get our Super Bowl 59 rematch at Arrowhead on Sunday afternoon, a game that followed a much different script than February's blowout affair. In the end, for all the aspects that were different, the team on top stayed the same. Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley had touchdown runs. Andrew Mukuba, hope I got that right, came up with a big fourth-quarter interception on a bad Travis Kelce bobble. And the Eagles leaned hard on the odious tush push in a 2017 victory over the Chiefs. Now, Conman, I liked a lot about this game. For all the, last Sunday night, for instance, that the Bills-Ravens classic, that's fun. I love that. But sometimes I like a good defensive slugfest. And this is a game where Patrick Mahomes was once again, it was made clear that in addition to facing a very game Philadelphia defense, he just doesn't have a lot to work with. Jalen Hurts is throwing 100 for 101 yards, and it just came down to just two teams slugging it out and one team finding a way in the end.
What I love is a classic puzzle that gets presented. And so you're the Chiefs, and I remember a couple of years ago talking to people around that team and them saying that Travis Kelce's going to evolve into the ultimate game manager. He's going to be like another quarterback on the field. He's going to get other people open. Okay, so then in week one, they run a route for him to get somebody else open, and he shoulders the guy and puts him out for 4 weeks. In week two, because of the diminishing talent around him, he's got to be the lead guy. He's got to be the lead dog. He led the team in targets, and he drops a ball that ends up getting picked off. And then it's almost worse that Mukuba was caught, because then the Eagles milked another 6 minutes off the clock, ran 10 more plays, and then scored a touchdown after that. So you're left with Kansas City being like, okay, we depended so much on a 36-year-old Travis Kelce, and the thing that we thought he was going to be, he's not really. The thing that he was before, he's not really. And now what the F are we going to do? So I love that. Yeah,
I just want to point out, because I know what you're saying. Like, it would have been, I guess, better if he goes to the house with it and you have more time to work with. The fallacy of the predetermined outcome, though, comes into play with that. And I got to give it up to Josh Simmons, the rookie left tackle. 18.3 miles per hour he reaches. This is a left tackle to knock the defensive back out of bounds and keep the Chiefs from that turning into a truly catastrophic 14-point swing. It ends up happening anyway, and yeah, like, I think Mark, the Kelce side of it is a big conversation point, because I think they wanted him not to be as big a part of things this year. And I think there is a cruel irony to him directly, and he took blame for it a couple days ago on his podcast for jacking up Xavier Worthy. And then, the Rashee Rice thing was somewhat out of their control, but not totally. They knew that was coming. Time and time again, and I'll give credit to Thornton, the wide receiver. He makes a touchdown catch in this game to make it interesting in the final minutes. But seeing Patrick Mahomes repeatedly targeting Tyquan Thornton, there's something kind of sad about it. It's just like, this wasn't meant to be how we view Patrick Mahomes in his prime years of his career. And I don't know when the Chiefs are going to finally figure it out. They need to get this man more help.
I think that's exactly it, right? Look, whatever the Chiefs had planned 60 days ago has been vastly altered by injury and by simply the fact that this is not the team they thought they had at that point. You don't want a centerpiece Travis Kelce right now. And you also are a team that understands that you're hoping that you're going to be a deep passing. You're going to add the deep pass to the playbook here this season. That was sort of part of the theme. It didn't happen. And you've got Patrick Mahomes rushing for 60 yards in the first half. He's essentially their ground game, and that's not what you planned for. And I don't know how sustainable that is or how long that can last. Like, this team right now is 0-2 for the first time since 2014. Mahomes hasn't lost 3 games in a row since he was in college. Like, there's a lot happening here that's just tangibly different, but this can't be what they planned for. And you can kind of see it on Andy Reid's face. Like, we don't have the horses and the people that we thought we'd have 2 or 3 weeks into the season.
I don't want to get bogged down in this, because I know where this is going to go, because you guys are going to defend it, and a lot of people do. But the tush push, I thought it was notable that Dean Blandino, the former head of officiating, gets called back into the booth to like, hey, how about this tush push, the one where they're running out the clock on the last play? And he's like, what was his exact quote? I've had enough of the tush push. He said, we can't officiate it. Because on this last play, it's 4th and inches. and Jalen Hurts and the offense line up, and Drew Tranquill comes out with the ball at the bottom of the pile, and there's no way to judge when he was down, whether the ball squirted out or anything, because all it is a rugby play. And in the same game, there was another key sequence in the previous possession for Philadelphia where guys are clearly firing off early, and it's on both sides. The whole play is so messed up because the way it's set up. And it's a key conversion. Andy Reid's looking around like, how are you not throwing the flag? Clearly, this guard fired off before the snap happened, but the referees don't know how to even call this thing. So everybody, all the people that are so like into the tush push can keep on, whistling past the graveyard on this. But the fact of the matter is, it's an ugly play that they don't even know how to handle anymore. And it's, for a lot of people, myself included, it's highly annoying that these games are getting bogged down by such a silly play.
I like that we're so into the tush push. Like whenever we call each other up on the phone, it's like all we can talk about.
It does. It feels like a play that certain football people, not saying you guys, but they use it in a righteous way to show that they are ball knowers or truly understand the native nature of the sport. And it's like, go ahead, save it for your cafes.
Connor, help us
couch.
out here.
Okay, so I'm reading a book about parenting called The Whole-Brained Child, and so I'm learning the effectiveness of redirecting instead of putting myself in a situation where I'm going to get angry. Okay, and so instead of arguing about the tush push, can I make one more point about this game, and then we can venture off into distant lands.
Go ahead, Connor.
How cool is this? That in the Super Bowl, these two teams played each other and were terrified to blitz one another. And then in this game, they are blitzing the ever-loving bejesus out of one another. There were like 20 blitzes in the first 11 minutes of this game. And Patrick Mahomes is so out of weapons that even Vic Fangio is like, yeah, F it, let's do it. And I thought it was just so crazy, a reflection of how not much time has changed, but everything has changed with these two teams.
Yeah, and on that blitzing point, at one point in this game, late in the second half, Jalen Hurts did not have a throw that had traveled for a completion over 6 yards. And at a key juncture in this game, Spags sends the house, and to Jalen Hurts' credit, he recognizes it, throws a big moon ball to the sideline and says, Devonta, go get it. He brings it down, and that leads to a key Eagles touchdown. So, yeah, let's not take the wrong things out of this. That's a really nice win by the Eagles, who grinded out on the road in a hostile environment against a Chiefs team that was ostensibly angry after how things went in Brazil in their first week, to get them again in that spot. They're 2-0, and the Chiefs are 0-2 and searching for it. Really crazy. All right, let's move on. Up next in the rundown, we head.
I'm texting Connor right now about the tush push. I just can't stop writing about it and talking about it. So
you might want to read that book. Head to Big D.
Let's go there.
Ooh, NFC East Insta Classic at Jerry World. Russell Wilson quieted the doubters and tickled the erogenous zones of certain owners of Chrysler Town and Countries across the tri-state area. But Brandon Aubrey kicked a 46-yard field goal late in overtime after tying the game with a 64-yarder at the end of regulation. Are you kidding me? And the Dallas Cowboys beat the New York Giants 40-37. What a game. Connor, ya boy, dangerous. Balled out, but the Cowboys found a way in the end, an early entrant into the Game of the Year conversation.
Pretty stunning all around. So first on the Russell Wilson front, probably his second best game ever, 452 yards and 3 touchdowns. He only bested that once in his entire career. This is like the best game for a Giants quarterback ever. I think it was 40 years since a quarterback has had 400 plus passing yards and 3+ touchdowns. And
by the way, your angry uncle's like, oh, don't forget about Sims in 21.
Oh, yeah, he did.
Oh, yeah, 22-25. Hey, McConkey. Go ahead. A different type of game.
That's
different
your
type
uncle.
Of game.
Yeah. It's everything that I thought that this offense could be and was pounding the table for at the beginning of the season. It was, you have Malik Neighbors, get vertical, get vertical, get vertical. And Wan'Dale Robinson, you have all these guys that you can use to stretch the field, and one of the best deep ball throwers of all time, who I think has certainly lost a step, but still has an incredible touch. I mean, that one Malik Neighbors touchdown, you can see there was someone with their hand over his face mask. He can't even see it. And the ball's being dropped right into his arms. And so phenomenal performance by Russ. I thought a really good performance by Dable too, sprinkling in Jackson Dart, running the inverse of a play that he had run before, but handing the ball off this time. Just a little bit of trickery to get them to the edge. But ultimately, the Giants pass rush kills them, which really disappointed me and allowed the Cowboys to continue to get back into this game, a game that I didn't think was phenomenally called by Brian Schottenheimer, who ran a running play to set up a 64-yard field goal. It's not like, like he was that certain that Brandon Aubrey's going to hit a 64-yarder that he's not going to try to get any closer to the field goal. So I don't know. A lot of mixed emotions coming from this.
It says a lot about Brandon Aubrey. We'll get to him in a minute. Go ahead, Mark.
Well, it's classic. Like, if we know anything about the Schottenheimer lineage, that feels right, part and parcel of that. But what I really like, because Malik Neighbors is an absolute shining star, and I love that there's functional quarterback play and a well-coached offensive side of the ball for the Giants. To not have him be muzzled all season, like, it kind of changes the entire conversation around the Giants, because I was pretty much sold that, like, by halftime of this game, they would have made a quarterback switch. And then Russ goes out and has like a career ball day. It's like a wild man. And so it's like, it shuts all that up.
It is my signature sandwich.
Is it like
Dangerwich? And it's dangerously good.
We love it. We love the sandwich. Like, is it sustainable? Like, was this like a mirage, like an LSD dream,
Yes.
or is this what they can be? Because it's kind of insane to me.
I think Malik Neighbors is the real deal, and if you can continue to give him chances, he's going to continue to make plays for you. It reminds me a little bit about different types of players, but young Odell, where it's just like, oh, this guy's just different than everyone else. It also did strike me, and I'm not going to take any air out of the Conor Orr balloon here, that Kirk Cousins had an incredible game like this last year for the Falcons on a Thursday night. I need to see a little bit more from Russ, but you can't, and we have to talk about the punt ball interception he throws up in the overtime, which was totally needless. I don't know why he did it. The only thing that made me think, Connor, was like a 3-point shooter who's 11 for 13 and is just like heat check of all heat checks. But that was, that obviously set up the game-ending field goal. So it did put a little bit of marred it a little bit, but overall, Giants fans have to be feeling like, recharged. And for Dable, as frustrated as he must be, to know he's not going to have to answer questions about Jackson Dart for at least one more week. That's another victory to take out of the loss.
But putting him into that game specifically to just run 2 plays was such a wonderful sort of middle finger to all of convention, because in a way you're then inviting the questions while also simultaneously deflecting the questions. And what I loved about this game was it was like in college when you used to, just take a few bong rips and like Western Kentucky and Hawaii would be on at 1:00 in the morning and you're just sitting there on the couch. And like this game made absolutely no sense. From the very beginning, you had a left tackle that had 4 straight personal foul penalties, punched a guy in the head, and then was benched. And then
wait, personal fouls?
There was 4 personal foul penalties, and I think 6 total penalties on that first drive.
Oh my goodness.
It's insane.
They had 9 penalties in the first half, I think. It all came on that march, yeah.
And then there's just this montage of people trying to calm him down on the sidelines. Russell Wilson converts. This is James Hudson.
And poor James.
Russell Wilson converts a 3rd and 25 just to get them a damn field goal out of this, right? And just to have this make some degree of sense. And after that first drive, you're thinking there's absolutely no way that anything is going to happen. There's like 9 total points in the first 2 quarters and then like 40 in the fourth quarter. This game rocked. I mean, it was good because there was no Cadillac pretenses of like Buffalo and Baltimore where it's like, the best against the best. This is like just crazy asshole 3-legged dogs fighting in an alley over a little piece of taco meat. And that's what we got.
That's why I sort of said like football showed up, because it came out of nowhere. I so agree with you. And it's Cowboys, Giants. One thing for the Cowboys, because like you're figuring out who you are too. Like George Pickens, I think, is legit, seems to fit in this offense. Like, it's going to take some time, but he was a factor today, and it's like he's not disappearing. He wasn't disgruntled. It's like he's part of this passing attack, and it helps. And like Dak has looked great through 2 weeks. I think Dak Prescott has been.
He looks like
a
the
really
guy
good
that was in
quarterback.
the MVP conversation 2 years ago, and that's a big piece of this Cowboys if they're going to hang around. Just before we move on, I want to hear from Shoddy because it's his first win. We love Shoddy around here. We like Marty. We like that Brian got his chance here. And so we're going to go to the Cowboys locker room in a second. But here are the last 9 minutes of regulation in terms of possessions. Giants, 4 plays, 60 yards, touchdown in 2:06. Cowboys, 10 plays, 85 yards, touchdown in 5:53. Giants, 7 plays, 63 yards, touchdown in 3:30. Cowboys, 11 plays, 71 yards, touchdown in 1:52. Giants, 3 plays, 63 yards, touchdown in 27 seconds. And then Cowboys, 4 plays, 21 yards, field goal. And what the hell? Why not? A 64-yard field goal to push it to 37-37. It's actually really improbable that then overtime featured 3 consecutive punts and an INT before Aubrey wins it at the gun.
Very quickly, the irony, well, not irony, I guess you would expect it, right? Especially if you're a Bears fan. And you have to give, again, I think I'm taking up a lot of air on Russ, but I mean, Javonte Williams, Cowboys run game, there was a lot working for them. And again, the Giants pass rush, I think, was great early in the game, but let them down. But how about this? Matt Eberflus lets up the most ridiculous Hail Mary play last year. And then is the defensive coordinator against Russell Wilson in a situation where there's like 26 seconds left, and there's literally one guy that can't get the ball at the end of this game, and it's Malik Neighbors on a deep ball, and there's no one over the top of him. How does that happen to the same guy in 2 consecutive seasons, like a year apart?
Not great. And the fact to the greatness of Brandon Aubrey, the fact that when he lined up for a 46-yard field goal in overtime, it felt like a 23-yard attempt. This guy is one of one, I think, in the league at kicker right now. Here is Schottenheimer in the locker room after he got the game ball.
This field goal kicker, I tell you what. Hey, 51-yard field goal. Yeah. 44-yard field goal. Yeah. 64-yard field goal. Yeah. Wait, in overtime with the walk-off. 46 yards.
Good for Shoddy. Good for the Cowboys. A little juice in Big D. You know I like that. You know Zuzzer likes when the Cowboys are in the mix. It's always a little more fun league. All right, let's move to Cincinnati, where injury issues for our league. Jake Browning. Yes, Jake Browning. More on that in a moment. Passed for a 241. And scored the go-ahead touchdown on a 1-yard sneak with 18 seconds to play as the Bengals rally for a 31-27 win over the Jaguars in Cincinnati. So the Bengals are 2-0. They avoid that slow start that has so often haunted them, and yet this felt like a Pyrrhic victory. And why? Joe Burrow's hurt again. Burrow suffered a left toe injury in the first half, went to the locker room, did not return, an ominous sign for the Bengals and Burrow. And this report from Michael David Smith over at PFT, the report is that from Fox. All right, so we don't know the sourcing. I don't know about Jeremy Rauch of Fox 19, but there's a report out there that the expectation is that Burrow will miss several weeks with turf toe and torn ligaments. Now, if that's true, that's obviously a huge setback. And I enjoy watching Jake Browning in the sense that he's a complete roller coaster of a quarterback. He's got a devil may care attitude. I likened it to like watching Brett Favre, like post MVP peak Brett Favre, but after drinking a case of Bud Heavy and then sending him out on the field. So all you fantasy heads, you're going to be all right because T and Jamar are going to continue to eat, but things just got a lot more chaotic for the Bengals. And obviously with Burrow on the sideline, things are less fun, Mark.
I guess the optimistic note is because Burrow has suffered so many in and outs in terms of injuries that, like, we've seen Browning before. He's got experience, but man, you are right. He is a hot and cold machine. 3 interceptions, but he also like makes plays. And so here's your job. If you've got a turf toe scenario with Burrow, like, get them through this little part of the schedule. Every one of these AFC North teams have rugged slates. Like, get them. You're 2-0. It doesn't. You feel like a 2-0 team where I'm kind of questioning what you are, who you are. Are you snake bit? I'm not sure what this team is really about, but just survive. And they survived today against a team that, challenged them. But it's like Browning can do it, but you're right. He is like Brett Favre on 8 glasses of whiskey. And that's a fun thing to watch, potentially.
And Connor, I don't like turf toe. That's a type of injury. I thought initially it was an ankle. I think everybody thought it was an ankle, and it seemed like he was going to go to the locker room. He was going to get an X-ray, and then they were going to tape him up, and he'd be out there. That's a type of injury that can really debilitate an athlete, just in terms of explosive movements and all sorts of issues. So it's real hold your breath time for Cincinnati, because their season once again is hanging in the balance with Burrow's health unclear.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
While you were talking about that, I just got an alert, breaking news across my screen here. Bengals QB Joe Burrow is feared to have suffered a grade 3 turf toe injury, which would sideline him for at least 3 months. That's per Rappaport and Pelissero together.
That's dark. That doesn't work with a football season.
Look at that schedule too. Holy bejesus.
Right. Their schedule with all these AFC North teams, their schedule is
Vikings,
it's over.
Broncos, Lions, Packers, Steelers.
And that's, that is a real, I'm a big Burrow fan. A lot of people are. We just took him off that sucks. If that's true, you do the math, 3 months, October 14th, November 14th, December 4th, mid-December, best case scenario. So, yeah, I shouldn't say season's over. If Burrow can come back and Browning can help keep them afloat until then. But now it totally changes everything about that team, and just a real bummer. Their center, Ted Karras, put it well. I wish I was more excited, but that casts kind of a touch of gray on the day. And, from the game standpoint, at least they got a W out of this, because they might need it, because now, let's be honest, they are at best fighting for a wild card. And Jacksonville might be doing the same thing. They now have a tiebreaker, and Jacksonville had no business losing this game. I mean, they had it in hand, but they had turnovers. They had a decision that Liam Cohen made in this game late in the game when they were fourth down inside the 10-yard line. Instead of kicking a field goal, go up 6, they went for the jugular. And I don't know what's going on with Brian Thomas Jr., but multiple plays in this game where he was shying away from contact and just didn't seem like he wanted any of that business, including on that last play. So Trevor Lawrence and the offense looks a lot better right now than it did pre-Liam Cohen, but just a little bit sloppy, and they really let this one get away. And at least Cincinnati could sneak a win out of this. But, wow, that's a devastating update there.
A couple, that's the story of the day, basically. A couple quick things on the Jaguars, because I think a lot of people coming out of week 1 were wondering what the Brian Thomas situation was. And Liam Cohen came out pretty strong in a press conference and said, oh, no. Brian Thomas is the centerpiece in terms of our wide receiver group. It's on our quarterback to get him the ball, right? And even today, there was a shot of Liam Cohen, basically screaming at Trevor Lawrence. And he just, Trevor Lawrence, here it is on screen if you're watching, Trevor Lawrence just with his right hand just sort of waves him off the way you'd wave off a person if you're leaving and doing an Irish goodbye from a bar. It's something to watch, because it's and they said afterward, oh, it's just part of the game, and I get all that, but it's not it's not looking like a lot of fun in that situation.
Yeah, he was targeted 12 times in this game, but he had 4 catches, and it looked to me 3 drops. I think he was only credited with 1, but just played a poor game. And you need your wide receiver 1 to be better than that in a big spot. Wow, that is a crazy development around the Bengals, and it's really too bad. All right, let's take a break right here, and when we get back, we dig further into week 2, Sunday. Oh, Lock Brothers in the house, Cessy.
Totally forgot about this.
We might be the last people to lock up the Bengals now this season.
Feels
I had to
accurate.
hit it 3 times because I missed Connor's. Apologies. Still shaking off the rust. It's only week 2. Connor locked the Cowboys. Also got it right.
There you go. Very
We're
nice.
on fire as a
Hello.
cadre.
Very nice. God, Trey. Stay right there. That right. We are back. Let's dive right back in. Let's head to Ford Field. Maybe all it took for the Detroit Lions to get their groove back was the return of Ben Johnson to their home stadium. The now Bears coach got a front row seat for a ferocious bounce back from Detroit's attack. Jared Goff threw for 334 yards and matched a career high with 5 touchdown passes, including 3 to Amon-Ra St. Brown. And the Lions trounced the Bears 52-21. I mean, come on, Bears. Really? Is this what we're going to do this year? Please. Connor, the Lions are feeling much better than they did a week ago.
I think Johnny Morton heard your and my complaints and then came out and not only had a really good game, but also the best game for a Lions offensive coordinator ever in terms of yards per play. And
good timing. Talk about dousing a narrative before it can get out of control.
And this was also the worst Bears defensive game in terms of yards per play surrendered since 1977. So
what's going on with the Bears? What did you take out of this game? Because it was close early on. They seemed to be going back and forth, and then I guess it just kind of got away from them.
It's this strange thing where I feel like Caleb Williams will take a bad situation and then say, how can I make this so much worse than it actually is? And there was
good trait.
There was this scenario where they were only down 14-7 in this game at one point. They had a couple back-to-back penalties to make it 2nd and 32. And then he just throws the most insane, reasonless interception for absolutely no reason. And you had a lot of gutting moments then in this game where Isaac Tesla has this great one-handed catch. The officials tell Ben Johnson it's halftime. Everybody leaves, and then they're like, wait, hold on. There's still 6 seconds left, and they bring them out just so Jared Goff can throw a touchdown pass as time expires. And so there were a lot of gutting moments in this game. I don't think it's Eberflusian level with Ben Johnson yet. I mean, at the end of the first quarter, DeAndre Swift's averaging like 7 yards a carry. This looks right, and it looked right for 2 quarters against Minnesota, but there's just like a limit. There's an expiration on this team, and then they just blow off the handle.
There were 2 teams this week that were legit Super Bowl threats that needed to settle everyone down, and it was the Chiefs, and they didn't do it, and it was the Lions, and they did it. And it was like the name Morton, and it was everything that was happening. Like, they came out of week 1 looking just not like themselves, and today to rumble for 177 yards on the ground and just literally blast the door off the Bears and your former coordinator. It's like, this is what you need early in the season to just get back on track and move. And like, I do find it funny when we're watching like 12 of these games at the same time that when one becomes a blowout, you kind of take your eyes off it. But this is one of the biggest wins of the week for any team out there because we're back if you're the Lions.
Yeah, this was a good to get the vibes back where they need to be. You know, Tyson Bagent ends up in this game midway through the fourth quarter. I wouldn't read too much into that given where this ended, but just keep an eye on it if they continue to struggle. And 8 more penalties for the Bears, including 5 on the offensive line. That's a problem. And here's this stat, Connor, because I'm sure you were watching this happen over and over and over again. They allowed, in terms of explosive plays, 15 plays, Chicago's defense, of 10-plus yards, 7 plays of 20-plus yards, and 5 plays of 30-plus yards. Wow.
That's the old Lions.
Wow. This is the Bears that we were told are finally ready. These Bears. Now, maybe that Monday night loss is one of those losses, and it happens, where a team could be on the right track, and then they get taken down in such a way that it kind of just shatters their sense of self. And maybe that's what's going on here too. But this is a very ominous start, as Bears fans know. All right. Anything else on this one, Connor?
Just a fun moment, I thought, that when the Lions, they had an interception and then the defense celebrated in the end zone, but they ran. Remember the stumble play from last year that Ben Johnson came up with, where they did the fake trip? So the Lions defenders ran the stumble play in the end zone after they picked off a pass, which I thought was very cute,
delicious.
Juxtaposed with the shot of Ben Johnson shaking his head, which I thought was very funny.
That's brutal. That's brutal. All right. Let's head to Baltimore, another juggernaut trying to straighten things out. 30 years ago, Art Modell broke Cleveland's heart by packing up and heading to Baltimore on the anniversary of that. The greatest, Sessy, of civic betrayals in NFL ownership history, I say. Would the football gods intervene? No. No, they would not. Lamar Jackson threw 4 touchdown passes, and Baltimore's defense jacked up Joe Flacco in his return to Baltimore. And the Ravens beat up on the Browns 41-17. Sessy, we wish there was some magic for you today, some comeuppance to the big bullies from Baltimore. Instead, it was more of the same in this one-sided rivalry.
I mean, from a theological angle, you could say that the football gods have been having their way with the Browns exactly the way they want for all these years, and today was just another chapter in that hideous book. But no, this was confirmation that the Ravens, because Cleveland has, it's sort of a shame. They've got what looks to be like an A- plus at times defense. And they really were hanging around in this game as they seem like they're going to do in a lot of these. And then you just can't keep the Ravens down for long. And they blew the doors off. They scored 81 points in 2 weeks. Cleveland is a team of, and I wrote a note, which is going to sound ridiculous because they were just thumped 41-17. I mean, I should be hammered right now in a bathtub.
Be careful here, Mark. Go ahead.
Well, I'm just going to say, I kind of see what they're doing. There are like a flood of really young, interesting players on this team, like Harold Fannin and like guys all dotted all over the roster. It's just you're gonna get destroyed by a consistent, high-powered, star-filled roster like the Ravens, who over the course of 4 quarters, this is what the score will be. Nothing about this game taught me a lot about the Ravens, other than the fact that this is what they'll handle. This is what they'll do with lesser competition. One little thing, though. You would think in this game, if you'd had to look, like how many yards did Derrick Henry and friends run for on the Browns if you're winning 41-17? 2.1 yards per carry, 45 total. Derrick Henry, 23 yards. He was imperfect. It's just 2 weeks in a row where I get a little bit concerned about how can they dominate and how do they want to dominate down the stretch. This is not a game to point to be overly concerned with. The Browns are we're going to put Joe Flacco out there and have him throw the ball 45 times to a bunch of people that were in college a year ago and see how that goes. It's just it's two franchises in completely different places.
Yeah, and the next game we're going to talk about is going to be a similar situation of a team that's trying to figure things out, going up against a team that just has talent everywhere and it's just in a different place. But I'm going to turn around what you're saying about the Henry side of things, because Henry just looked like, prime Henry 6 days ago or whatever. So I think he's going to be fine. But you could shut down one of the greatest running backs of all time and their running game and still get a 40-burger dropped on you, because they could come at you in waves with their quarterback and their passing attack and then their defense making plays. Yeah, I wonder if with Flacco, if the plan is just to get through this early portion of this gauntlet of their schedule and then start taking a look at the kids, or I'm not sure what Flacco, if this is truly going to be the season that we think it's going to be for Cleveland, where does Flacco really fit in here? I mean, there's one guy that's upset about the start of the season. It's Myles Garrett. Let's check it out.
Yeah.
Shit's embarrassing. And we got to be better on defense. We got to be better as a team. They slowly chipped away. We did a solid job, holding it to 3 when we could, and then eventually, the dam broke, and then they just did whatever they wanted, and we have to continue to play a 60-minute game.
That's the thing. I think if you're, and Conor, I would love to know what you think about this, because this is what this Browns team is. They really do have a very good defense, but you just can't sustain it if there's so much imbalance. But they told Myles Garrett, we've got a plan at quarterback. We're going to keep you and bring you back because we've got this great master plan. It is impossible to know what that is today, or what he was told, or if it's just I'll take the money. But this is not the plan.
I think it's just hard dealing with the Ravens team that Devontae Walker now has 3 career catches and all of them are touchdowns, and you feel like you've covered everyone, and then a 4th-round pick out of North Texas from 2024 just completely knifes through your defense and is a completely capable and valuable part of this offense that has 4 or 5 other good receivers. DeAndre Hopkins looks like he's 28 again. There's just not a lot you can do, I think, when teams have the caliber of depth that Baltimore has.
And we joked about this in our previous show. It was almost comical how much was stacked against the Browns in this particular game, the 30-year anniversary and all that bullshit, and then the fact that the Baltimore Ravens are in their home opener, and then also the fact that the Ravens just are coming off arguably their most crushing regular season loss of all time, that they were going to be pissed. And it's just like, it wasn't going to happen. But at least the Browns did one thing successfully. They made sure to give Deshaun Watson his flowers on his birthday. A happy
That's what you
birthday,
gotta
Deshaun
do.
Watson tweet.
That's
So
what
there
you
go.
got to do.
So it wasn't all for naught. I'm sure that.
Nope, this was a shining moment on my Sunday, and I think we all enjoyed it.
Yeah. Speaking of shining moments on Sundays, let's head to the Meadowlands. Yes, the Bills needed everything in their arsenal to pull off an amazing comeback against those Ravens in Week 1. On Sunday against the Jets, it was more the old Milton Berle routine, taking out just enough to win. Josh Allen shook off a shot to the nose that sidelined him for 2 plays. James Cook ran for $132 and 2 touches. And the Bills cruised to a 30-10 win over the Jets at, again, what the... these Jets fans, we just want to go to the Meadowlands on a Sunday after we had the promising Week 1 game and, have something to root for. And this game is over. It's over almost immediately. Justin, when the biggest moment of drama in a game involves a nosebleed, this was a rocking chair game for the defending division champs.
Yeah, I need to formally apologize to our listeners and viewers for suggesting this game for the quad box. I wanted to see
Good ownership.
Is the Jets offense as legit as we saw against the Steelers? Is the Bills defense as concerning as we saw? No. Both answers to both are no. I don't have any concerns about the Bills defense against lesser teams, like maybe against the true Super Bowl contenders like the Ravens, who again put up over 40. Like maybe it's just the Ravens have a really good offense, and that's why Week 1 it's hard to take anything from. The Jets offense, it's hard to even judge what they are because they barely had the ball in this game. Like there was a point in this game when the Bills had run almost 50 plays and the Jets had run just over 20. It was like a varsity high school team against a middle school team. No offense, Dan, but in terms of
Trust me, none taken. You know how bad it's gotten for Jets fans, at least for me. Last Sunday when we got our heart ripped out by the Steelers in that game and Aaron Rodgers and all that, some people are like, oh, that's a moral victory and it's really something to build on. I'm at the point now, and I know there's a lot of Jets fans that are like me, that I wasn't even that. I was like, I'm just going to enjoy this loss for the positives because I know there's no moral. I know this isn't building towards something. I know something terrible is going to happen very soon to wipe away all this optimism. So we have now reached the point as Jets fans where you just have to savor the best things about a terrible loss and then just know something much worse is coming. And that's what happened in this game. They were non-competitive. And the thing that's a little disappointing is that they continue to have self-inflicted mistakes, penalties, and turnovers, and the things that if you're a team that's facing a big talent deficit, Connor, as the Jets were against the Bills, it really was JV varsity. You have to play your best game, and when they came out flat and fell behind, you could tell just not only the air going out of the building, but on the sideline. And from that point on, it was just like a 2.5-hour slog just to get to the end of a game that we all knew how it was going to end.
This is only the second time since Josh Allen has played for the Bills that the team won a game in which he did not run or pass for a touchdown. And I would kind of go back and look at this game. It was warring with the Giants on cable television, so really desperately vying for my time. Yeah. But you just keep going back and back and back, and you have Josh Allen, your fantasy team.
Adventures in cable television!
You just keep flashing back, and you're like, how on earth is this happening when he's not doing really much of anything? And I just thought that was an incredible step.
He got cracked in the nose real good. It was pretty gross, actually. And blood was just coming out of his nose, and he sprinted to the sideline. And it was the idea, like Nance and Romo were like, oh man, this is not normal. Why would he be doing this? And of course, because he's Josh Allen, they plugged up the nose. He washed out the blood out of his mouth, and he was on the field 2 plays later. Here was Allen after the game.
How's the face? The nose?
We could breathe, so it's good.
What exactly happened? It was hard to tell.
Yeah, I pulled it when I probably should have handed it off. I tried to throw it, and I saw him push, decided to tuck it. I don't know what hit me. It was a knee, it was a hand, it was somebody. Helmet just kind of came down right on the bridge of my nose and just started leaking. So
yeah, it was a hand that, yeah, gross. Football players are
calls it
sick
leaking.
son of a bitches. And just to put Justin to his point about Fields, he was 3 for 11, 27 yards, and then left the game with concussion. And the timing of the concussion protocol, there's a very decent chance Tyrod Taylor is now starting in Tampa against the Bucs. So, by the way, it's Jets schedule is a little rough for a team that is horrible, by the way.
Well, I think these last
can we get a little
schedules,
cupcake? Or what are we doing here?
There are no
By the time we
joyride
get
to
a
the
cupcake,
playoffs.
we're going to be 0-6.
Right. Like, I will say one thing. Like, they had the ball for 21 minutes. They had one drive over 34 yards, net yards. But on the nose thing, there are men and we've seen this. I think maybe Owen Wilson would qualify here. Like I thought he broke his nose at first, but when you get a broken nose, it can make you look a little more dashing, a little more masculine and kind of dangerous.
Right. It gives your face character for certain guys.
Right.
I really, as someone who still has a broken nose, I was hoping that would be the effect for me.
Sure.
The doctor at SUNY Medical, after a one-way bar fight at Syracuse, said there's not a whole lot we can do. And, that was the thought, right? Owen Wilson, maybe look a little bit like a cowboy, but unfortunately it just makes it bigger and harder to breathe. So
You're beautiful.
bad combo.
You're beautiful to us, Connor.
The harsh reality.
And one final note on this one. I think about my dad when these games happen, because my dad, and I carry residual guilt that I'm in California now and I'm not watching these games with him. And my poor mom, she's just been dealing with this for 50 years.
For sure.
They just celebrated their 50th anniversary. And do the math. Super Bowl III was January 12th, 1969. So there's been a lot. Yeah. Deb and Keith, 50 years. I just feel for my dad. So I said, Dad, do you want to chime in on today's episode? And Keith stepped in.
The drummer.
After last week's game against the Steelers, there was a lot of optimism by Jet fans that, it was a close game and the offense looked pretty good, and let's give the Bills something to worry about. The papers even indicated it looked like it was going to be close, but this game wasn't close from the beginning because, once again, defensive penalties cost them, repeated penalties over and over, that led to the Bills just kicking their butt in the first half. Which
That's
can happen because the Bills are a tough team. But the thing that pisses me off is that it looks like they just gave up in the second half. They just laid down, as far as I'm concerned. They didn't do anything that showed any guts the way they just played. And as far as I'm concerned, I like to see what Coach Glenn is going to do now. What is he going to do? Shake up the whole team and let them all go? I know he did the right move, I think, with the punt return last week. But this week, horrendous. So let's see what happens. I'm still saying go Jets. But boy, anybody in those stands that had to sit there and watch that, wow, that had to be disgusting. Thank you.
Oof. That's my dad when they found out that I had been stealing the homework reports the middle school was sending home out of the mailbox, and then it got back to them. That's the angry Keith. Yeah.
Every kid at least has done that. I once buried a poor report card in my backyard without realizing that an adult would just realize that there's a strange dirt circle that must contain something below the yard, and it was a report card with bad grades, let's be honest.
I used to drive them to another town and throw them in a dumpster in a completely different municipality because I had been caught so many times. It's unbelievable, the PTSD I got from hearing you say that.
Because just
you guys are stupid. I got straight A's in high school.
Well,
4.0 GPA, baby.
What a nerd.
Little nerd, man.
Little nerd boy.
Nerd boy.
Yeah, but the real thing, it's hard to thread the needle because what happens is you steal 33 homework reports and put them in the shredder, and then the 34th gets through, and it's like, this is the 34th homework report of the semester, and it's like, Danny, what's this? All right, Dad, maybe next week we'll get him. Thank you for chiming in. Let's move next to Lucas Oil Field. Stadium? Field? I never know. Jointy. The Denver Broncos appeared hopeless and helpless to become the latest team to suffer a gutting loss on a 60-plus yard field goal in this new world order of the NFL kicking universe. But no, kicker Spencer Schrader was wide right on his attempt as time expired. But wait, the Broncos were penalized for leverage, that old gag. The 15-yard penalty setting Schrader up from a much more manageable 45 yards, and that was true. The Colts shocked the Broncos 29-28 in what I thought was the worst stomach punch loss of week 2. Just unimaginable loss for the Broncos, who, back and forth game, and we're going to get into how great the Colts offense looked for a second straight week, but I really thought this was a case of Denver really losing a game. They have the ball with the lead. They're driving down the field, and Bo Nix, who played a much better game in week 2, airmails a pass for an interception, so that goes by the boards. Then on their final drive of the game, they get into the red zone again. They line up for a 41-yard field goal. Will Lutz hits the upright, so instead of a 5-point lead, it's a 2-point lead, and now you're left wide open. And yet, after Shane Steichen, I thought, got really conservative in that final sequence and essentially settled, like we were talking about in Dallas, for a 60-yard kick, the game's over. And yet that penalty goes from the Broncos win, wide right, the Broncos win, to, oh my God, now he's kicking this 45-yarder, and that goes through. So that is a brutal Broncos loss, and letting it slip through your fingers. And Connor, the Colts have a lot to be excited about right now.
I mean, this is exactly what you thought or you'd hoped that the offense would look like under Anthony Richardson. What did Jonathan Taylor have? 165 rushing yards today, and then another 50 yards and a touchdown receiving. Tyler Warren, the way that they're dotting him around the formation, and he's running routes as a running back, he's running routes as an H-back, as a tight end, as a split out. I mean, Shane Steichen, yes, I think maybe from a coaching standpoint got a little conservative, but him and Jim Bob Cooter are just in their bag in terms of moving that tight end around and putting him in good spots. I mean, Daniel Jones, we've never seen him this comfortable, and this is a very satisfying moment. A big Carly Ursay victory. She was fired up on the sideline. So,
do we have any Carly shots this week?
This is a serious
What
woman.
was she wearing this week? She was the female priest from the 2070s last week. I'm just curious what she had for an encore.
I like that. There's just a very, like, it went from like I'm spying on you energy to now like it's like the second half of oh God, what's that Denzel Washington movie where the two coaches and then they become friends, but the defensive end dies? You know what I'm talking about? Jesus.
Remember the Titans?
Yes.
Was that a joke, or was that a bit against me, or did you actually forget?
No, I couldn't remember what the
It's literally called
Everything revolves
Remember.
around me.
I mean, I don't know.
movie
I don't
came
even
out
know.
when I
How do
was
you
like
forget? It's the
13.
best
Who gives a shit?
sports movie ever. All
It's
right.
not even close to the best sports movie ever.
It is not at all.
But I think it was more like that. Now it was more of a suspicion, I think, on her part. And she had said, like, I'm trying to find out who's full of shit. And now it's like, I'm in.
Well,
kinda
let's be
energy.
honest though, Connor. The vibes of the deceased owner's daughter who's like trying to figure out like how to own a team, prowling the sidelines with a note card and a push pen or whatever. It seems a lot less ominous when they're winning games. When things are going the other way, it could be a real probably distraction and something that would make me very uncomfortable if I was on the coaching staff. But right now, everything seems great in Indianapolis.
What's like the funniest thing that you could write in size like 19 font on a note card that you're carrying around in the sidelines that people would be able to see in plain view, like just like what the fuck with a question mark or something like that. I don't know.
Like when you're thriving, you want your boss to be observing you. Here we
there
go.
she
Here,
is.
if you're watching this on the YouTube.
And I say
like
this
the
with complete respect, and there's nothing about it. She's like a striking woman. I don't know. It's got this like shock of raven hair and very prominent eyebrows, and it just looks like she means business.
Like I
Carly
said, I think she's
Ursay
very
means
serious.
business. Yeah.
She's serious, and she's not here to mince words. I think we understand that. I mean, but
like I'm a little intimidated just watching this image right now. Like I feel like she's going to crawl through the screen.
You should be. You should
like
be.
The Ring.
This is a very aggressive play for Feminist of the Week, and I understand that. But I wonder what actually goes on these headsets. I think that there is probably something that you can glean out of a person's character in big ticket situations over the course of a game. And if you're noting that stuff as an owner, I actually don't think that that's a bad idea. Now, broadcasting that you're doing it and making it look kind of ominous in real time, I think is one thing, but I give her credit for digging in and popping under the hood and seeing what's going on in there.
Well, she's definitely cut from different cloth than the 16 owners that are on like their fourth tumbler of like dark liquor by the third quarter, right? and just like upset and like they don't even know what's happening. Like that's another group of owners. Like she's different than that.
Just
but
the fact that she's a woman. I mean, she's different than what we're used to, which is like 78-year-old like oligarchs, just prowling the luxury suites. So
I would just say
it's a breath
she's
of fresh air.
Yeah, because it's like I'm telling you, I'm holding every one of you accountable. And like if you're as good as you think you are, and I'm paying you a flood of money on this entire coaching staff, I want to learn more and be part of this investment. And so like there's literally nothing but good there, except that it probably, you're right, when things go sour, like holy smokes, like are you checking
There's a lack
what you
of
say?
subtlety to it though, Ceci. That's what to me it's a little like it's a little on the nose, and I'm not a fan of it, but like I like it as a fun talking point here. So if you guys like it, cool.
I think it is.
Yeah.
I'm not calling it performative because I think she's genuinely
Well, I
like
think it's a
bought
little
into
of
the
that.
process. But it is a little on the nose. But you know what? Like, cool. Like I'm kind of with her 2-0, and somehow this is working. My one aesthetic note from this game is like when I'm watching. And first of all, I think a lot of coaches out there think they could have fixed Daniel Jones or done more with him. He kind of checks a lot of boxes as a quarterback, and they secretly had like 5 guys with more than 40 yards and multiple targets. They got a lot of weapons and they're running the ball well. It's like, but Daniel Jones in a Colts uniform screams like 1958 to me. He just fits. He really looks like a Colts quarterback to me.
Can I just make one, and then I won't talk for the rest of the show if you don't want me to. But through 2 weeks of the season, not only the Colts, but the Packers and Mark's foresight on this end, I just want to say this. A lot can happen over the course of an NFL season. Injuries come into play, yada, 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 yada. But this is, did you do the summer reading and how did you do on the pop quiz at the beginning of the year in terms of the team that you're picking to go on? Because we don't know what's going to happen in the future. And that's not part and parcel to our expertise based around the summer. And so I think that Mark and I nailed our summer. That's all I want to say. We had a good summer. That's it.
I would say
Point accepted.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Taking victory laps after 2 weeks is not something I would recommend for most people. But if you care to use this platform to do such a thing, congratulations.
Because if it goes south after that, it's something
lost.
happened that's not my fault.
Well, no, but now that you've done that, now you've raised the stakes a little bit. Because if this does go sideways, inevitably we're gonna have to bring back that you put the medal around your neck just now after the second Sunday of the season.
See, I think I've already won.
Connor, do you remember what happened to the 2024 Saints after 2 weeks? I'm not saying these teams are that. I'm just saying it happened.
This is fun, and I talked about this on Thursday. This is great. I'm glad for you. And this, I had a similar experience with Sam Darnold last year. Let's see, maybe he's Sam Darnold this year. But let's see. My eyes, after watching this game, my eyes are open now more. It's like, okay, now he did it against Denver, and Denver is a team that's supposed to have a very good defense, although they didn't look very good today. But what is that? Is that a product of Danny Dimes and Shane Steichen, or just, the way things played out today with the game script? Or is Denver not that good at defense, or is it literally just week 2? Let's see. But so far,
I would chalk it up as a victory for Connor and for Mark. That's where I leave it.
I'm gonna give it to you guys. I'm gonna give it to you. I mean, but still a lot of football to be played. That's all.
Relatively.
Yes. All right, what's up next? Let's go. Where are we going next? Why even continue doing the show? We've really hit the peak moment of it. Let's go to Miami, though, anyway. Yes, it took a week longer than expected, but the Mike Vrabel era in New England has its first happy ending. Drake May threw for 2 touchdowns and rushed for another. And the Patriots beat the Miami Dolphins 33-27 at Joe Robbie Landshark Pro Player Hard Rock Stadium. Justin, this game probably won't be remembered by historians due to the teams involved, but back-to-back special team scores is not something we typically see. What happened with that sequence?
Yeah, first, this was a really fun game, like a really good back-and-forth game. The Dolphins take back the lead in this game on a Malik Washington punt return touchdown, and Dolphins fans are celebrating. They finally look like a real professional football team. And on the ensuing kickoff, Antonio Gibson is able to rumble all the way down the sideline for a response touchdown with Mike Vrabel sprinting step for step with Gibson the whole way down the field, which was amazing to watch. Gibson said after the game that he needs to be faster if Mike Vrabel can keep up with him running down the sideline like that. But yeah, that was a wild moment in this game, and it was like exactly what New England needed, although their offense was pretty good in this game too. I mean, even without that play, they put up 26 points of offense, and they didn't have a drive there where they could have put up more. Drake May, you were questioning it last week, Dan. He was a little off target on certain plays. He was on the money today. He had a beautiful throw into the end zone for a Keyshawn Boutte touchdown, which just like right in the bucket. He was using his legs to get out of trouble whenever he needed to. And the Patriots offense with Josh McDaniels does a nice job of utilizing his mobility in the, with rollouts and different ways to get him on the move. And he had a rushing touchdown. He had 2 passing touchdowns. He was great in this game. The Dolphins, it was pretty funny, start this game continuing a streak that they had from the leftover from the last game and even leftover from the previous season. They ended up, I think it was 13 consecutive scoring drives allowed, field goals or touchdowns, until the Patriots took a knee to end the first half. That ended the streak, the longest streak since going back at least to the year 2000 of a team allowing scores on every drive. But then in the second half, it was a different Miami Dolphins team. They woke up and they were competitive. They just couldn't execute on their final drive where they were penalties, sacks, and the game was over.
Is this the worst defense in the NFL?
Possible. Ramondre Stevenson was able to do whatever he wanted in this game. He was a big factor catching the ball out of the backfield and just running it down the throat of this Dolphins defense. This team needs to toughen up big time. The Dolphins I'm talking about. Like, I don't know how long McDaniel's going to last. They've already done the players only meeting, and we've been talking about them needing to toughen up for 900 days at this point. 4 years.
I'm not sure what changes here.
To win games, you have to win the game, not lose the game.
Honestly. Jesus Christ.
That is how you lose the game. You're moving the ball down the field. You're 1st and 10, and then you find yourself at 2nd and 20. That was critical.
And
we're reaching
the last.
We're reaching the critical juncture here with McDaniel, where it's like, Justin, pull as many quotes as you can because we don't have much time left. Right. To win games, we need to win the game. I mean, this is a very smart man. I think, is it, Connor, that losing is so debilitating in pro football that it just zaps your brain at a certain point?
Yes. It just reminds me of, I had this friend Mario in high school that we have the senior project, which you're supposed to be working on throughout the entirety of the year, and then you present right before you graduate. And he just decided not to do it. And it was like May, and someone goes, Mario, what are you working on? And he just turns around and goes, I don't know, osteoporosis. And then like knew nothing about bones or like the density of bones or anything like that. And just like, he was so defeated by like the crush of the school year. And I feel like that's kind of what Mike McDaniel is like right now. It's just like, I don't know, we're winning, but we're not. And it's just such a fun thing to watch.
I saw a lot of tweets, Justin, before we move on, we'll take a break, but I saw a lot of tweets about the New England defense also being not where it needs to be. They struggled as well, it appears.
I mean, it was up and down for them. They started the game, first quarter, blanked Miami, 3-and-out on Miami's first possession, and then they allow 14 fairly quick points in the second quarter, but they get a nice turnover, interception, and they stepped up at the end of the game, most importantly, when they really needed to. Backs against the wall, you have to get a stop here. They closed the game out with back-to-back sacks. So I wouldn't say I'm necessarily concerned. I mean, we know the Dolphins' offense, when they're clicking, can be very dangerous, and they hit some plays. Tyreek Hill finally had a 30-plus yard catch for the first time in however many days. He had over 100 yards receiving in this game. Waddle was a big factor in the passing game as well. I think the Dolphins' offense can be good when they're clicking, so I'm not concerned about the Patriots' defense after this game. I thought they gave up 7 points on a kickoff return or punt return, and then they held them for the most part after that.
All right. Fair enough. All right. Let's take a break, and we will churn through the rest of Week 2 Sunday. All right. So if you love the heroes, but you need more from us, good news. Patreon.com/heedthecall. All original, all fresh, all new content coming from all different angles. We have our Sunday draft special every Friday. We have It Came From the Subreddit, a study of the listening and viewing audience of this show. It's meta, man. And the Throwback Podcast with me and Bob, where we study Oasis Live 25. Mark, there's so much for people to dig into right now.
There really is. It's varied. We've got a Rolling Thunder, Jason Zumwalt and I coming up. It will be for Cinephiles, and we might have a little special guest on there as well. So wait and see.
Sexy, sexy, sexy. Patreon.com/heedthecall. Hedonists unite. All right, we are back. We got 4 games left. Let's head to Acrashore. I miss Hines. Don't you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season, in part because the Steelers teams tend to play a smarter, more disciplined brand of football, or that's, I guess, the theory. But after 2 weeks, it's hard to know exactly what we're going to get by the Three Rivers this fall. Steelers rookie Caleb Johnson had an all-time boner of a special teams gaffe, and the Seahawks took advantage of sloppy play by the Steelers in a 31-17 win. Connor, can you break down that play first that will cost many Steelers fans a night of sleep?
Yeah, I mean, so the kick landed in the dead zone. He touched the ball, and then it went over his head into the back of the. Yes, and so it kind of grazed his hands, and then it went over his head, and then I think he thought it was just going to go out of the back of the end zone, and it just didn't. And then all of a sudden, the Seattle Seahawks ran down, fell on the ball, and you remember Pittsburgh has Danny Smith, the special teams coordinator, with the big wad of bubble gum, and this was the only time they didn't show him after his special teams play in 13 years in Pittsburgh. And I wanted to know what Danny Smith was doing during this because I'm sure he was unwell.
Same.
I'm concerned about Pittsburgh's defense. Is that accurate and fair? Because I feel like that they kind of can't stop anyone right now. I do think Jalen Ramsey is quietly one of the better off-season moves.
Yes.
He's been great 2 weeks in a row, but this is not the Steelers defense that we've been watching for years in a row.
And can we reframe, even looking back to week 1, the Jets did literally anything they wanted to them. And then you saw what a Bills defense did to the Jets. And it makes me even think Jesus, how bad are things in Pittsburgh when that was happening? And then this happens.
I will say that I think Seattle's game plan was pretty unique on that regard, where they had somebody who could chip a Pittsburgh rusher at all times. They kind of stacked their formations in a way where anytime Pittsburgh would have a free rusher, they had a guy that could just come in and lend a hand and keep pressure off of Sam Darnold. But the real gutting moment here was, 3rd and 19, and you have Kenneth Walker running in, an absolute gut punch of a touchdown after Charbonnet had taken a majority of the carries in this game, and he had essentially been sidelined. So I think that there were certainly some moments of sleepwalking for Pittsburgh, for sure.
Here's some sound from Aaron Rodgers, who didn't want to hear it from reporters.
Is this starting to get a little frustrating? You're getting...
No, it's week 2. Come on now. Come on.
See, Aaron gets it.
Don't back down.
It's good for us. Last week, probably there were some people who were feeling feeling pretty good because everybody outside the building is talking about how great we were on offense and 34 points. That's the league. You can't ride the highs or ride the lows. You know, you gotta refocus every single week and be a professional.
What did you see from Rodgers in this game? Oh, you talking to the journo?
Well, yeah, he's just like, well, yeah, that's why I was asking. No, don't back down. You know, go stand on your.
Well, that's what Aaron Rodgers does. He intimidates and But
Fair
go
question.
on. Well, how did Rodgers look in this game?
I thought he was definitely in gunslinger mode today, and you can tell that there's a Rodgers that is in the flow of the game plan, and then there's a Rodgers that's like he just wakes up and is the ghost reincarnate of 2009 Brett Favre, and this was one of those days, and it worked in some cases. Like he hit Jaylen Warren on this ridiculous pass, and Warren had probably one of the best catches and runs that I've seen of the season. He was good on goal line fades, but other than that, it was just too scattershot, and Seattle really put together a nice second half.
DK Metcalf in his return to Pittsburgh, showdown with Seattle, where he started and became a star. 3 catches for 20 yards, but he did have a touchdown, but pretty quiet overall. Rodgers finished 18 of 33 for 203 with a touchdown and 2 picks. And Seattle had nearly 400 yards of offense in this game. So I think that will be the story around Pittsburgh this week. It's not going to be about the offense and Aaron Rodgers. It's very much going to be about what the hell is going on with the defense. Here's a question I have. One more thing before we move on, Connor. I thought TJ Watt was largely invisible against the Jets. He had a couple plays, but it wasn't the TJ Watt experience you expect. And was he quiet again in this game? It doesn't seem like they're getting what they expect from their most important player right now.
Yeah, and Rodgers should have had a third. Like it just bounced off a guy's chest. So this was not his best game. But Cam Hayward was literally like interior pressure they were getting a little bit of, and that busted up a Seattle 4th and 1 that they had they attempted like a play action thing. But yeah, I mean, again, Seattle, I think just the way that they played offensively really limits edge pressure. And so I think when Pittsburgh can't put that pressure on the edges, they do struggle to find other ways and other avenues to get there.
That's interesting about Rodgers, because I wasn't going to dwell on it last week because it was just going to sound like sour grapes anyway. But I rewatched that game last night with my sons, and he threw 2 balls that could have been intercepted in that game, and then he has 2 today, and then maybe almost a third. So he's got to protect the ball, obviously, as well. All right, let's move on. Let's head to the desert. The T2 song. Come with me if you want to live. Calais Campbell will live forever. The big fella continues to be a game record at 39 years of age, collecting the key sack with 26 seconds to play, allowing the Cardinals to escape with a 27-22 win over the Panthers. The Cards are 2-0. I'm sure Jason Zumwalt's very pumped about it. Mark, this one got interesting after it already seemed to be decided. I know you hate that script personally.
I don't hate it, but I see what you mean, because it looked like a washout, and it kind of seemed to me it was like Carolina's season from a year ago, like a micro. Thank you, Justin. I shall continue now. It seemed like a microcosm of last season, where like the Panthers looked utterly lost, and then their offense and Bryce Young a complete awakening job down the stretch. Like 3 straight touchdown drives, a 14-play touchdown drive, another 14-play touchdown drive, and a 12-play It's like, is this every Cardinals game ever? Are they going to completely crumble here? And then you get that Calais Campbell moment, and like, it's perfect to have him back in this environment with this team. And I do think that the Cardinals, to me, like roster-wide, you can see it. I don't know where they actually are among the rest of the league, but you can see it. And what they did early on felt like, are they turning the corner and becoming like this kind of rough and tumble outfit that can beat people up? You're still relying on Kyler Murray to play a full game, and he was fine today. The one thing I was thinking, like, is this the matchup of the 2 shortest quarterbacks ever in NFL history? It may not be, but we've got to be close there. But then one thing about the Panthers, Ted McMillan, this is a legit player. Like, from the minute this game started, even when the Panthers were adrift and far away, he is making play after play. Like, they hit on an absolute future star, and that's really promising. So if they can be what they were in the second half of this game, we're back where we were at the end of last season. I just don't know if they're kind of schizophrenic, to be honest.
I'm going to do the old, which people don't want to hear, but
yeah,
just finished week 2. They beat the Saints and the Panthers, and they weren't overly convincing in either victory. Apparently, so
I get it, but they have from the Cardinals' angle, they have pieces. Their defense is more competent than it was a year ago. They had some injuries today too. They were playing with lesser guys, but I'm with you. It's I can't quite put my finger on what they are, but I think they're like a 9-win team. Maybe. I have no problem with that because that's not a world-beating scenario anyways. 9 wins, yes. They're an improved outfit.
As Mike McDaniel is known to say, to win games, you need to win the game, right? And getting out to a 2-0 start, that's how you get to 9-8. You get that a couple games that maybe you don't play at your highest level, but you win anyway. And a nice test for them. We'll get to it obviously later in the week, but they go to San Francisco next week, but they might actually get a backup quarterback. But that backup quarterback might not be that bad. We're going to get to that too. Anything else from this game, sir?
Not a ton. It felt a little bit like a drifting operation, but I really, again, I think the Cardinals are well coached. I really think that Jonathan Gannon is a good coach, and I think they've got good coordinators, and they just having the team from 2 or 3 years ago that to me felt combustible and a mess. I don't see that today. I just don't, and so I don't want to fall down this wormhole again because I did it a year ago, but I kind of do.
Yeah,
I kind of will.
I can tell.
I kind of will.
You sure you want to do that?
I am sure.
This is your chance. This is your chance to get out.
Nope, I'm going to fall down it.
All right. Mark rides with the Cardinals again. Just take your win with the Packers. This is like a guy that's at the casino and he just won $10,000 at the blackjack table, and then he goes over to the roulette table with his winnings. Don't do this to yourself.
Well, it's like having multiple partners, which I don't have. But if you did have that, you could different moods, different needs.
All right. Good luck to you. Good luck to the Cardinals, and Zumwalt might have an issue with this. All right, let's move to Nashville. Matthew Stafford threw for 298 yards and 2 touchdowns, and the Rams spoiled rookie Cam Ward's NFL home opener, scoring 20 straight points and a 33-19 win over the Titans. Speaking of my parents, Deb and Keith, Justin, they went to Nashville for a little trip last weekend, and their hotel overlooked Nissan Stadium. And I was like, wow. The hallowed grounds of Nissan Stadium.
Can we switch rooms, please?
It's like being overlooking Lambeau Field. Anyway, Gravy, at least you and all the other sickos in the psych ward had that one highlight reel play to hold on to.
That was awesome. Cam Ward running around for more than 7 seconds, launching a nuclear missile across to the opposite side of the field to the corner of the end zone, where rookie 4th-round pick Alec Iamaner goes up skies for the touchdown. Just a couple
of buzz
plays
around that boy. A lot of buzz around that player.
A couple plays after he does the David Tyree helmet catch on the sideline for a big gain.
There we go.
That was the only fun sequence of this game as a Titans fan. But
reminded me a lot of Johnny Manziel. Who's done that in a game? Johnny Manziel's done that in a game.
Okay.
Ouch. We don't need that.
That was the throw of the day. I thought that was the throw of the day. I texted you, Jessica. I was like, that blew my mind watching that.
It was definitely the Titans' throw of the decade. But really a tale of two halves for this Titans team who, just like last season, cannot make second half adjustments. They were the worst team in the second half last year. This game, they take a 13-10 lead to halftime. In the second half, the Rams have touchdown drives of, in this order, 4 plays, 69-yard touchdown. 3 plays, 21-yard touchdown coming after a strip sack of Cam Ward. And 5 plays, 66-yard touchdown, and then 6 plays, 29 yards to end the game. Look, the Titans are not... this is similar to a couple of games we talked about. Browns, Ravens, Jets, Bills. It's like one team that was in the NFC Championship last year that has their eye on a Super Bowl versus the team that just had the first overall pick. I was sort of just happy that the Titans were competitive in the first half in this game, to be honest. But the Rams look good. And this linebacker, Landman, holy cow, this guy's on an all-pro track.
He's a captain for them. It's sort of came out of nowhere. I thought I was watching this out the corner of my eye, and it's 2 weeks in a row where Matthew Stafford, like, healthy, looks younger, looks refreshed. He was 5 for 6 on throws of 15 plus yards. Like, Puka Nacua is a warrior. Like, I'm willing to buy into the Rams into the deep distance if he stays healthy.
Nacua and Devontae, 22 of the 32 targets for the Rams. And that actually makes sense because you knew when they brought Devontae Adams in and they gave him all that money, like they're going to throw it to him. And Nacua is arguably the best wide receiver in the league, or the top 3 guys. So he's going to get his targets. So that offense is going to be, they're going to be feeding those guys all season long. Anything else on this one, Justin?
Rams averaged 7.4 yards per play in this game. Titans averaged 3.9. Titans actually ran 5 more plays, only had 4 fewer first downs than the Rams, 22-18. But total yards wise, it wasn't even a contest. Rams 439, Titans 252. Yikes.
And you might be bummed that the Titans have now lost 8 straight dating back to last year, Justin. Yeah. But I'll give you this one bit of positivity. Last week, 13 penalties for 131 yards. Today, 10 for 62.
10 is still too many, but at least the yardage was like half.
I'm just saying, we're going in the right direction.
Titans are lucky this wasn't like a 45-19 blowout. The Rams just struggled in the red zone when they didn't need to struggle. I don't know.
Gotcha. All right, let's head to the swamp. That's not a swamp. New Orleans. Let's head to New Orleans. No Brock Purdy. No problem for the 49ers. At least this week, Mac Jones threw for 279 yards and a career-high tying 3 touchdowns. And the banged-up Niners edged the Saints 26-21. The Niners, walking mash unit that they are 2-0 after 2 Sundays. Mark, you liked what you saw from Mac Jones today, didn't you?
It was a great day for Connor, a Mac Jones stan, because a glowing white thrived under
put another medal around his neck.
It's like we've seen Mac Jones, and he was good as a rookie to some degree with the Patriots. Like, this is just the thing. I think you just turn up the volume if you put these people in a better position. Like Daniel Jones, Mac Jones, anyone with the last name Jones is in a better position than they were before. And Mac Jones, it's going to take some time to acclimate, but they looked good. He looked totally serviceable. He fits in this offense because if you think about it from a certain point of view, if you close your eyes, what's that difference? Or if you open them, what's the huge difference between a functional Mac Jones and Brock Purdy? It's kind of the perfect Shanahan type quarterback.
Wait, why do we just give Brock Purdy all the money in the world then?
I get it because you kind of had to, but I'm just saying that it wasn't whoa, there was a massive drop off and we're playing around this quarterback. He fits this system, and this is a team that's 2-0, and it's they could be 0-2 or 1-1 based on all the injuries and stuff. But someone like Juwan Jennings is another, I think, just sort of hidden gem. He's really good in this offense. McCaffrey fits. They got him going again with this. So I was impressed. I will say one thing about the Saints. I know that they're meant to be a disastrous car on fire screaming down a hillside, but Spencer Rattler also, I see little elements of growth, and it's the second week in a row where he had a chance to win the game on the final drive. It's just not this completely dysfunctional mess, and I'm wondering, maybe Kellen Moore is good for him too. It's this game in the ultimate scheme of the universe probably is not the game we'll remember forever, but both quarterbacks played better than I expected. But I think the Mac Jones thing is just really important because however long you're going to be without Purdy, if Mac Jones can play like this, he can get you there. He's not the problem. Where there was a world where I thought this could be a disaster.
Gotcha, Mark. All right, so this, Connor, is, I think, probably part of what you were saying is a cricket just parks right above my microphone. There was all that talk that Kyle Shanahan desperately wanted Mac Jones all those years ago because he knew he fit in this system. And then he goes to New England, late period Belichick, who's, as we're learning, was kind of a disaster who didn't know what he was doing at a certain point. So that all gets blown up. And just like name the guy, whether it's Daniel Jones or Sam Darnold or this guy or that guy, maybe Mac Jones has now found a place where he can be functional. I'm still a little dubious because I saw a lot of him. I watched a lot of Mac Jones during, his Patriots run especially, and I thought that he was talent deficient as a player. But maybe the scheme can mask some of that as well.
But also with like Matt Patricia's his OC, and I'm just saying.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
But I'm talking about his physical skill set. Doesn't move well. Doesn't have a big arm. His decision making at time was suspect as well. I'm saying there were a lot of reasons to say this guy wasn't an actual first run talent. But this will be another great test for the great Shanahan for me.
I think that there was a lot of people on Kyle's staff that thought that Mac Jones was the pick that year, probably right up until draft
They took
time.
Trey Lance famously.
Yes. And I think what the rule, it's the Shanahan rules, and it's processing. How quickly can you go through the reads the way that I want you to go through them? And I promise that if you do it that way, I'm going to provide you with answers. The only reason that Trey Lance caught his attention is because he's never had a mobile quarterback to be able to diversify that run game and add another guy into the math in that equation. And that's why he got so excited and I think enamored with a guy that didn't fit his normal rubric for grading quarterbacks. But Brock Purdy and Mac Jones fit into that perfectly because he did that really well with Josh McDaniels his rookie year. He processed, right? It's like, hey, here are the 4 reads. Here's the order I want you to go through them. If it's this way, do this. If it's that way, do that. He's doing it in the 49ers offense too. And I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't lose a game as a starter just because he's got some decent talent around him. You're going to be able to run the football. And when you do that and have a great defense, the NFL is a lot easier.
Any other thoughts on this game?
Tough doing that with the cricket. It's just like, it's almost like
you hear it. Yeah,
it's like trying to do stand up with like one person there. Like it's just like it feels like he's judging me a little bit.
It's almost
I hope
like
it's not symbolic to the interest level of the show to the listener. But I'm not going to go down that road.
I mean, it sounds like a cricket gangbang right now. It's like there's like a party going on up there.
Now I'm interested.
Mark shows up at my door.
And then no, he does not. No, he does not.
All right. Good stuff. That's it, right? We did everything, Justin? Great. Do you guys want to see Tony Romo's face this week?
Oh, yes.
Let's check in on Romo's face. And again, we're not saying it. We're not being critical of him. We're just saying, is it the same Tony Romo? Is it a different person? Where is
Tony
Romo?
I don't know what's going on.
Has he done something in terms of cosmetics? We don't know. We're putting things together.
It's an investigation.
It is. It's an ongoing HTC investigation. All right. Next time you hear from us Monday night, Mark, the week 2 wraps with 2 Monday night games, which I know you're a big fan of. We're all huge fans of it.
I'd say Tampa. 3 or 4. Let's double it.
Yeah, why not?
Have 4 games on at the same time on Monday night, and then a gun pressed next to my head.
Tampa, Houston, Chargers, Raiders. So we'll be here again tomorrow night. Hopefully the cricket won't be with us, and we'll recap both those games and then get you caught up with any of the news around the league, including, of course, the latest with Joe Burrow. That is a major storyline out of week 2, unfortunately. Connor, congratulations on a wonderful day for you. I'm sorry the Giants didn't win. It was the only thing you didn't get, but in a way that was fine,
Having the Russell prove it game then kind of dovetail into my Cowboys lock was pretty artful. I mean, I gotta
that's
say,
right.
This has been, you get about 2 of these weeks this season, and so I'm really enjoying it.
Connor's just stripping clothing off by the hour as Sunday unfolds. One victory after the next.
All right, everybody, have a great night and the beginning of your week, and we'll be back in 24 hours. Till then, heed the call.